There's God's plan. Mama.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to In the Family Room. I am your host, Traci Wade. I am so excited about today's recording. But first and foremost, before we dive into tonight's discussion, go ahead and go to our YouTube page, our Facebook page. I am Traci Wade. Make sure you are subscribing. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're hitting the likes and also engage. Let me know what your thoughts are. We want to know what you think about our the content that's coming before you all. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right into this next discussion. Tonight's topic is the father and daughter relationship, and I am excited to have the person in front of me today. Let's see, I came into his life on October 13th, 1975. And that's when he became a father. And we're going to be talking about this journey. We're going to be sharing a little bit about our story as father and daughter. So, Dad, welcome to the family room.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
It's good to see you, sir. You look so good.
Likewise.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and dive in. You were 20 years old when you became, you were 21 by the time I was born, but by the time we found out about my mother being expecting me, you were 20, and you were also at college. You and mom were students at the University of Florida. And so I want to know just really about your, what was that time like for you, learning that you were about to become a father? What were some of your thoughts? What were some of your concerns? If you could share a little bit as it pertains to that time in your life.
Very good. Thank you. Well, you're talking about a 20-year-old, 21-year-old becoming a father from the family that I came from, which was a very large family. Family was very important. It was instilled in us at a very early age by my parents, your grandparents, and so the father figure that I had seen throughout my life, emphasis was about family, and I knew and understood the gravity of fatherhood, and so I had mixed feelings, not negative feelings of anything of that sort, but just mixed feelings of how I would certainly be as a father. Very excited, like most are, but then had some trepidations on some things that, for instance, how am I going to provide? And father, uh, my firstborn, you're the firstborn, and just not really knowing, certainly know the good examples that my father set before me, but just a whole nother story. When you become a father, how are you going to do this? And so it's a pathway that I had never traveled before. So you have always trepidations, but excitement at the same time. I believed that I would be, but just didn't know. So a lot of mixed feelings. All of them were positive, no negatives, but just wanted to be the very best I could be, in light of the example the example that I had with my father.
Okay. Now, you have three girls, you have three daughters, you have one son. You
Yeah,
have
that's because I didn't hold my mouth right.
Here we
You
go.
know, three girls. I only
Ladies
held my
and
mouth.
gentlemen, this is the reason
I
why I want to
only
intro
held
on
my.
this live.
I only held my mouth right once. Got one son. Anyway, you all are not. You're not mistakes. Okay.
Thank thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Did you even want girls? Like I'm asking questions that I really never really talked to you, which is one of the reasons why we're having this conversation. Did you even want girls? Like there's some father like what did you want?
Believe it or not, I tell you of the truth, being very transparent. I wasn't thinking of fathering at the time. I tell you what my goal was. As far back as I can remember, I wanted to play professional football, and so I played through my primary years, and then high school, of course, and then getting a scholarship to play at University of Florida. I was one step short of my goal, and so I wasn't thinking per se about fatherhood. However, I became a father. I became a
I changed all of
father
that, huh?
because I was doing things that would produce fatherhood. But anyway, I wasn't I wasn't thinking I wasn't
Ooh,
thinking about being a father. However, but when it did come, when the time came, um, I was just really excited, and then just my whole shifting change. You know, when you talk about a seed of your loins,
right,
this is what God is blessing you to produce. It takes on a different meaning, and the gravity of it. It's the
right,
gravity of fathering, of heading up a family.
right.
And so, regardless of me thinking about it, you was about to come. So I need to make the shift and get it right. And so my whole shifting shifted to that. That became a
Okay.
priority.
Okay. So when you ended up with four and then you had three girls, were you thinking, "Oh God"? I mean, were there any? What were your thoughts when you ended
Well,
up with more girls?
see, I appreciate girls who I appreciate that because I had five sisters.
Mm,
So it was four
mm,
brothers and
mm,
five sisters. Tuja came from a large family, you know that.
yeah.
And so when my girls came, I thought about my sisters
Mm,
and the kind of thing that they bring to the family that only they can bring. Of
mm,
course, being very protective. We've always been, as their brothers, being very protective and guarded,
mm.
mainly because of how I was out there. I didn't want a knucklehead to get them. I didn't want to reap what I had sown. So
We, we, we're gonna touch a little bit. We're gonna touch a little bit on that
I'm just saying.
in the next segment. I
So
get it.
with the girls, I became very protective, like any good father would be. You know, you know a little bit. You didn't know a lot at 20 and 21, but you had tasted of the world somewhat, and I think because of my choices at that time, I had experience of the world beyond my chronological years, and so uh, you just kind of look inwardly and see, hey, this is what I need to do concerning my girls. And so I had insight, I had an enroll on how I can protect them. And so, but I was very excited about all of my children.
Yeah.
And the thing that excited me the most was the fact not that I was thinking otherwise, but every one of you were born healthy. You were born without any type of, all that's not a given in pregnancy. And so all of my children were healthy children. They were bright children. They were bright children who later on in their adulthood are very productive citizens, very industrious, very entrepreneurial, just like yourself, what you're doing right now, very creative. So I love all of that.
All right. So I'm going to share one of my earliest the earliest memory that I have of you. I'm not going to do that to you. I just don't want to put you on the spot like that because I
I
don't
don't,
know.
I don't
I don't
care.
know
You
if
put
you
me on
have
the
an
spot.
early memory of
I can
me.
handle any spot you put me on.
Can you? Do you have an early memory of me?
Of course I did. Of course I
Okay,
did. You're the first.
sure.
You were the first. And of course, I remember learning how to feed you.
Mm,
I remember learning how to hold you, uh, just that kind of thing. Mind you, not a lot of experience with infants, not a lot of experience with, newborns, that kind of thing. Um, I remember learning how back in the day you didn't have disposable diapers. Okay,
yeah,
you had you
yeah,
had the, you
yeah,
had the real
clock.
cloth
Yeah,
diapers, and
yeah,
so um, that was something that I wanted to learn. I wanted to be a part of that, not just some fathers take the position, hey, once you get a certain age, then I will. But I, from day one, I was very involved with your mother in fathering you and parenting you in that sense, and parenting you. So, um, but one of the things that, because of when you were born, you came into our lives uh, a year later. You know the story there, where a major transition took place in both of our lives.
mhm,
One that redirected my goals in life, and that is the call of ministry and getting saved and receiving Christ and being called into the ministry, to the extent that it shifted my goal for professional football, as well as your mother. And so uh, you came up in the environment of a Christian home, not just a family home, but a home where Christ was center focus. He was centermost in our newborn way of life, which is salvation. And so, and of course, you know the history there. We were nurtured for 3 years in a prayer group of college students. I didn't get saved. Your mother didn't get saved in a church per se, but we were in college, and it was young people who had given their life to Christ that met twice a week at least uh, for prayer meeting and Bible study. So we literally, in that group, was the first family that became a part of the Gainesville prayer group. And so we'd get you ready, take you to Bible study with us. You were the first child to have that uh, honor
yes,
as the first child of the prayer group, which is now a church. After 40 years or so, it evolved from a prayer group to a mission to a church. And so
yeah,
all of those were memorable
yeah,
events where you were on the road with us, traveling, doing evangelism, uh,
yeah,
all of that, the
yeah,
different places that we did evangelism, college campuses. You went everywhere with us except the jails and prisons,
yeah.
but every other place you were there. So,
Thank you for not taking me to the jails and the prisons. I appreciate that.
well, they wouldn't they, they wouldn't let you they wouldn't
You
let you
wouldn't
take
let me
me
in.
in.
I know. I know.
Otherwise, I would have taken you.
Otherwise, you probably would have. Yeah. Good Lord, Dad. Okay.
Took you when we did outreaches, when we did street ministries,
Yeah.
when we went to churches.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we did.
My earliest memory of you was when I was little. We were living. We had. I guess we had just moved from Gainesville to Orlando, and we were living with Grandma and Granddaddy. And you came home late. Everybody was asleep, but you came home late, and you were in the living room. You were sitting in the chair, and I got out of the bed, and I would climb into your lap and fall asleep while you would watch. I guess you would put me in the bed afterwards, but I just remember always sneaking out of my bed to come and get in your lap at night. So that's my earliest memory of you.
Now, you probably don't remember this, but back on campus at the University of Florida, we were very meticulous on who kept you. We didn't want to put you in a daycare, so we searched diligently for for home care for you while your mother and we were in school and or work. And we found this very wonderful Christian Hispanic lady. I can't think of her name. That she we were settled in our spirit to leave you with her. So she was your caregiver, your babysitter, and she would talk to you in Spanish. She would pray over you. I don't know if your mother ever told you. Did she tell you that? You've
Mm-mm,
never heard that?
mm-mm.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna segue into our next segment, and this one is called in the thick of it. There are a lot of fathers, for those that are watching, for our audience. My parents were married for a number of years and eventually did divorce, and my parents went their separate ways. And so there was this co-parenting that had to take place between my father and my mother. And so, Dad, we have a lot of fathers that might be watching who are single fathers. And you mentioned earlier about as it pertains to daughters. And I think this is so important because we're seeing a lot with our girls. We're seeing a lot with our daughters that where the fathers are not present in their lives. And so, a lot of poor decisions. I believe that my life would have been very, very different if you didn't have a hand in it, right? And what would you say for fathers who may not be in the home with their daughters every day? You mentioned about protection earlier, but what advice would you give them as it pertains to their, trying to protect them and also affirming their daughters? Because that's important.
Yeah. Well, a child, according to scriptures, because of how God designed it, needs both a mother and a father. That's God's design of the family. And all too often in our life, as you've stated, there's always challenges that perhaps the mother and the father is not together. However, I will say to the single man, um, do everything that you possibly can to be in the life of your children, in this case, your daughter, whatever you need to do to be actively in their lives, not passing through, but I'm talking about literally finding creative ways to make sure the part that you bring to their life is done. You're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to be prayerful and willing to do whatever it needs, whatever it needs. Hopefully, the mother and the father can agree on the need for both of them to have input in the development of their children, or in this case, the daughter. However, I do know that there are challenges sometimes where the father is not permitted to visit the kids, to be a part of their life because of the mother being the custodial parent, or vice versa, for whatever reasons. However, the ideal, of course, the ideal setting would be if they are not together, that both of them see the higher need, and that is to have parenting coming from both the father and the mother, because the mother can't give to the daughter what the father can. More than just the last name.
What what
Although,
what what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
well, the last name is very important because you carry the name of legacy. You carry the name of the family. That's why most children have their father's last name. To a great extent, that's why he takes on a wife to bring her in to create the family unit. She takes on his last name. It's more than just the legacy name of the family, but it brings what it does is that it helps them to further know who they are. Only a father can give identity to their children.
Mm-hmm,
There's a reason why you take on the last name of the father, not the maiden name of the mother. It
mm-hmm,
is the duty of the father, scripturally so, beyond just the patriarchal way that the word was written. We know back in that day, it was patriarchal more than it was matriarchal. It's just the custom of the day. However, the spiritual context of the father is that he brings to the family, he brings certainly to his children, identity of who they are. Not that the mother don't contribute, but it's the father's responsibility, first and foremost, to say to the children, to put into the children, talking about father son here, so to put into the daughter, not father son, but father daughter, to put into the daughter of who they are. And of course, from a Christian perspective, who they are in Christ, who they are in Christ, and defining that along with giving legacy about family, the natural family, but then more importantly, your spiritual legacy. So the father gives identity and can, to a great degree, if properly done, can help them and guide them to purpose and destiny. To purpose and destiny in life. And of course, that's for every person, their search of so many things in life. One significant thing, first and foremost, or at the top of the list, if not certainly in the top five, is knowing who you are and why you were created, why you were permitted to come into the earth realm by birth, and then how you came in through the two people that God used to procreate you. Why is that? Why
Right.
these two people? Why at the
Right.
time that you were born into the earth realm? And then with that, uh, good parenting, spiritual parenting will help you to know who you are, will help you assist you in determining your purpose, and will help guiding you from purpose to destiny.
I'm going to shift real quick. And I want you to talk a little bit about um, one of the things that I appreciate about our relationship and the relationship that you have with all your children, but um, is uh, is how calm you are as a parent. Um, someone mentioned that as it pertained to the way I even parent, but I have seen some mean fathers. How important is sensitivity to between a father, sensitivity and emotional intelligence between a father and his daughter? Like, what does that need to look like, and how intentional does the father need to be in regards to how he handles her heart?
Well, my opinions, and thank you for that question and the input. And I don't know, this podcast is going throughout all of the world, and so uh, it's important that I give a disclosure. My information that I'm sharing will always come through the lens of God's perspective because I'm a godly father. So that's a disclosure. Um, I'm speaking from uh, God's perspective as He has given me revelation of both my manhood, my priesthood, that has to do with how I am to perform my priesthood to my wife, and then my my fatherhood.